Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Stay Paid podcast. My name is Sefton Eisenhart, and with me, as always, is company president of ReminderMedia, Luke Acree. And not only do we have Luke Acree, but we are also honored to be joined by the VP of Marketing, Joshua Stike. And today we're going to be talking about an incredibly important piece of subject matter, and that is your small business website.
Yes. So what's up, everybody? This is Luke coming at you. So, guys, it's clear today if you don't have a website, you're not going to make it in business. 80% of buyers are starting their journey online. So we want to walk you guys through 4 different questions that your website really should answer. And if you can make sure your website answers this, then you're going to ultimately drive more leads and ultimately what you want, which is more revenue for your business. So just letting you guys know, there was a 2015 study performed by VeriSign reported that 84% of consumers believe that small businesses with websites are more credible than the ones without an online presence. So you're probably listening to this going, well, duh, of course that's the truth because you see it in your own life. But the point here is that you need to look at your business, look at your website, if you hopefully you have one, and make sure you're actually conveying what you want. Because the first point that for your website that needs to be answered is who are you and what services do you provide? Because the point of a website is to ultimately drive leads for your business. There's no other reason to have a website if it's not driving leads, which turn into deals, which turn into commission checks, which turns into obviously the food on your table. And so when you look at your website, one of the points that I want to make is when I started doing the journey with my brother Steven in real estate, one of the things that was essential to us before designing the website was figuring out who he was, what's his story, what is his brand, for lack of a better word, and he needed to portray that on his website. Now, which is funny, if you go to, I think it's StevenAcreeRealty.com, but you'll see that it's covered with his pictures. Because the point was, when we looked at his brand, we realized that he was a sharp-looking guy, and we could play off of this whole HDTV fad stuff that's going on now. Right, the good-looking pictures. And so we wanted to make his face kind of his brand and his image. So all of his road signs that he has out there for selling properties have his picture on it. His website is covered in his type pictures. But the point being is that we made a conscious effort to look at our website and go, what is the story of our business? So you need to ask yourself right now, what's the story of your business? What do you represent? What's your personality? And I think there's a good point, and maybe Josh, you can talk about this a little bit. When we've been traditionally phone sales for we've been around for 13 years, probably for the first 10 years.
12 of those years.
Yeah, 12 of those years maybe. We were mostly phone sales. So we were behind the times when it came to internet and came to driving leads online. And so we, on the phones, learned that closing deals was really based upon one value proposition, which was we get agents, we get financial advisors, we get them past the trash can with their marketing. The marketing that we provide them to send to their clients does not get thrown away. And that was the crux of our value proposition when we made these phone calls. So we tried to do that online, and what happened, Josh?
Very little results.
It didn't work.
Well, what we tried to do even more was we tried to tell our entire story, right? We tried to do what internally we have our what, how, why, and everyone should do this for their business, where we lay out what we do as a business, how we do it, and then why it works. What we found, though, on the web is, and what we know through statistics, is humans have very short attention spans. Our attention spans are like 4 seconds shorter than they were in 2000, right? Since we're all on the internet now, we're all on our phones all the time.
It was a goldfish, now it's less than a gnat.
Well, it's about a second less than a goldfish, right? You have 8 seconds online to capture somebody's attention. Give them what you do very quickly.
It's interesting you say that because I saw a stat just earlier before this podcast that was saying that if your website doesn't load in less than 2 seconds, you will lose. Will lose pretty much almost 100% of the viewers that come to your website.
And then what's even crazier is once your website does load, you have half a second to make an impression on somebody. Somebody will form an impression within less than a second after your website loads.
It's crazy because what Josh is saying, we tried to tell our whole story, and we tried to take what we knew worked on the phone and put it online, and it failed to work because when I look back, what I saw was that we are an explainer sale. And so it's not something that people get right away, and we tend to explain it in a 30-second elevator pitch, and then it goes into like a 4-minute pitch and ultimately 15 minutes. And we tried to translate that online, and it didn't work. But we changed, and what we changed was, I call it like the brand, or I don't know what you would refer to.
It's the value. I mean, we put the value up front, looking at what people were actually responding to and why they're using American Lifestyle Magazine is in order to look good. Right? So they liked this idea that if they were sending a professional publication and their photo was on the front cover, it made them look better. And because as business professionals, these professional service providers, their business is themselves. So understanding that I can look better, I can elevate the perception of myself in my client's mind is ultimately what was bringing people to us. And ultimately through the images that we're running on Facebook and then bringing them to our landing pages where we're able to show them that nice hero shot and give them that value proposition immediately. I think we changed the copy that actually ended up working the best for us and set us down this path was finally a classy and elegant way to stay in touch with your top clients.
Right.
And then whenever you go to the landing page, it's marketing beautifully. We took out the referral and the repeat business and all of the money and the revenue and all
the
this
buzzwords.
Yeah, all this stuff behind it, and just focused on what do people actually want. And people want to feel good. They want to feel like they're portraying themselves in a quality way. And getting that out there in as short a time as possible was critical to our success online.
I love that. And tying that back to the first point, which is your website, why are you doing it? You're doing it to drive leads. The first thing that you have to share and show to people is the value that you provide. Maybe you call it your services, right? Maybe you call it the products that you're giving out there, but it has to be crystal clear, not just the product, not just who you are, but the actual solution, the value that you're giving to a client. And then what Josh is saying, which is critical, is that you have less than the attention span of a goldfish to capture them. You said 1.5 seconds to get somebody to actually stay on your page?
Yeah. No, you've got 8 seconds to get them to understand what you're all about.
Well, that leads kind of right into the second point, which is what differentiates you from your competition? What is, and this plays more into your story. So first you're sharing kind of, hey, this is what we provide, this is the solution we provide. But then what differentiates you from your competition, and why should someone choose you? Why should they keep coming back to your website? Why should they keep interacting with your brand versus all the other real estate agents, insurance agents, whatever industry you're in? Why should they choose you? And your website has to speak to that. Do you guys have any thoughts that you can give them on how maybe they could do that, or some stuff that we've done to differentiate ourselves? I know personally that, I believe one of the things that we do extremely well is showcase trust signals on our website. And what I mean by trust signals, for people who don't know, who are listening to this, is really on the buyer's journey. You convince somebody by logic, but they want to trust you. They want to, emotionally buy. And we're showcasing other logos of people we work with. We're showcasing testimonials right there. That's a way for us to kind of differentiate ourselves from somebody that maybe doesn't have the results that we have.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, they are great is always better than we are great. Right? Having someone else say how good you are or how good the experience was is always going to carry more weight than someone standing at the saying, I'm so great. And that's the idea of social proof. And what you would be doing is taking your customer reviews that you're receiving on Facebook, taking those reviews that you're getting on Google. And if you're not asking your clients to do this, make sure that you're asking them to do that. And you have to have these pages set up. And I don't know if we want to get into kind of how we set these pages up, but you have to have a local presence on Google. You have to have a page set up on Facebook in order to get these reviews. And then if you're using things like the Facebook logo, you're using your Google logo in order, when you're showing your reviews, visitors are automatically going to trust that more because it's a big, trusted brand to begin with. And that's where the trust signal comes into play. So your social proof are your testimonials. These are other people saying how great your experience was. And then the other brands that you're bringing in are your trust signals. And if you partner with somebody, like you said, we do logos with brands that we work with because they're bigger than us.
Correct.
And whenever one of our prospects comes to our page and they see, they also work with these people, then there's immediate trust built there within seconds.
And what I would say is one of the things I'm seeing across the web right now when it comes to marketing is one of the issues we all face is we're all doing the same thing. So you need to find creative ways to showcase your success. And believe it or not, a lot of people are not doing testimonial videos. It's something everybody knows about, but most people don't take because it takes a lot of effort to do. And so I would encourage all of our people listening is that it's really simple for you to get a testimonial. The reason why it's more simple for you than maybe another business is because you're usually at the closing table with them. When you sign the deal in real estate, you're usually investing and meeting with them once a quarter on their investments, and it gives you the perfect opportunity to film a testimonial video. And I would encourage you to keep them short. When I'm reading our testimonials, we almost, in a way, we don't rewrite the testimonial, but we want to make the point stand out quickly so someone doesn't have to read a whole paragraph. And a lot of testimonials that you see online, they're too long that you can't get the actual proof out to that person within that 1.5 seconds, within that attention span of a goldfish. And that's where you lose people.
I think that you need to constantly, when you're working with your clients over the course of a year or even over the course of a couple of years, you need to be keeping your eye out for potential clients that are going to be conducive to a testimonial, because some people, especially if you're doing video, it's difficult for some people to be in front of a camera. And I think that people have bad experiences getting the testimonials under those circumstances. But I think testimonials are so crucial because we live in an age right now where everything is so exaggerated. Every single product in the world, whether it's a cup, a coffee mug, it's amazing, it's incredible, it's the best ever. And people are just so, they're just so used to this constant hyperbolic way of talking about products that the only thing that is actually going to convince them is another customer that's in their exact same shoes. Obviously, a brand is going to tell you that they're amazing, they're the best ever, but that's their brand, that's what they do, that's their job. But when somebody else is saying it about the brand, it gives that person a lot more trust. They're going to trust another customer. They're not really going to trust the brand.
Correct. So, and there's a couple ways you can do that. Obviously, we're talking about trust signals. So you can do it by showcasing vendors, partners you're working with. You can showcase it by video testimonials. You can do case studies. So Sefton's one of our writers here. So he's a talented writer. He's done case studies before. But that's a great way to do it because it is what the customer's results are. It's not what necessarily bragging on us as much as just this is what they did.
Well, and it allows your reader to relate to something.
Correct.
Right? They can immediately start putting themselves in that same position. Oh yeah, I have that much years of experience. Oh, I've had that same problem with my marketing in the past, and they can start to see how they fit into your story.
And all this really drives to, I want to get to this main point because I think this is probably the most valuable point of the podcast, which is what do you want your website visitor to do?
Well,
now,
and I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
Before we tackle that, I would say, since we're on the conversation of trust, we also have to place an emphasis on design. Because what we've looked at, and this is something that I'm passionate about, right? I listened to the cold calling episode that you guys did a couple episodes ago, and hearing the passion that you have for cold calling, just reminded me, my passion is in design. My passion is in I started off with websites. I started off with this company designing websites. We were in a garage selling cars, but we were actually, starting, that's what I was hired for, website design. And today, more so than then, 15 years ago, design is critical in building trust. And there's actually a study that co-marketing did that said that 94% of people cited web design as the reason that they mistrusted or rejected a website.
That's insane.
So immediately within that first 0.5 seconds that your website is loading, that's how much time you have and how many people will mistrust you if they can't find you or if your website is not well designed. And at the end of the day, when we talk about trust, we have to talk about the value of trust. Not only is that going to be driving leads, but trust is going to lead to those conversations.
Correct.
And as we know, and as everyone on here who knows who's a sales professional, that conversations lead to closes. So you have to build that bridge, walk them through that journey, and a lot of it starts with the design. So it's not scary anymore because you don't have to go learn how to write HTML and learn Photoshop. There's so many tools available to you for free, for small fees, whatever, to put together well-designed websites and landing pages, and all you have to do is fill in the content.
No, I think you are making an absolute critical point, which is this is the same when you referenced the cold calling. We talked about people are convinced on logic, but they buy on emotion. Design is so awesome because it can play into both parts of that. It will rise emotion in you. It will make you feel something. And that feeling obviously can be that trust, that it's actually convincing you that this is a big brand. These people know what they're doing. Look how their pictures are. Look how their website is designed. And I find myself making that decision. And if you look at like the buyer's journey, we make this decision all the time in stuff we buy. We buy based upon how it looks, whether it's our car, whether it's our kitchen appliances, whatever it is. We buy based. Beats. We were talking about Beats headphones, right? They have done an incredible job of
there's
marketing.
so many headphones with better quality.
You
right?
talked to, they put weight in their headphone, right? And this is not
like
maybe a
piece of
website
metal
design,
in.
but they put little pieces of metal in their headphones to make them feel heavier because the whole feel of it, the design of it just makes you feel quality. That's an awesome
And
point.
what it really comes down to is if you're going to be representing a client, you need to represent yourself well because it's going to be an indication of how you represent that client. It's like we deal with a lot of real estate agents. So when a real estate agent doesn't do a super great job of representing themselves and their image, it's going to lead any potential client to think to themselves, well, how are they going to represent me?
Yep. Yeah, look at what a company does, not what they say.
Exactly.
That's the key to figuring out marketing sales. Like what they do, not what they say. All right, so no, I think that's a great point. That really leads to why are you building this trust? You're building the trust so they make a decision and they take action on something. And that gets into the point of what do you want your website visitors to do? What do you want them to actually get into? And we talked about this. Now, we're probably coming to the end of this podcast because we're running out of time, but I want to touch on it a little bit, and then maybe in a future podcast, we can dive in deeper into lead pages. But we talked about the difference between like a website and a lead page. Josh, give them the example of our website and what leads we're driving from that versus our landing pages, our lead sites, as you would call them.
Yeah, so I mean, if we would look at our website in total, and we use Google Analytics, and we set up goals inside of Google Analytics to make sure that the forms and the lead capture forms that we have created are being tracked, right? So we know how many visitors are coming to our site a month, and then how many of those are converting to leads for our business. So if we look at our website overall, right now we're converting about 5.41% of total sessions for people that are not logging in, right? So just to kind of break that down, we have people come to our homepage, ReminderMedia.com, to log into their account manager. We take those people out of our segments. We create a segment specifically for people. We have about 69% of our total traffic are people that are not logging into our site, right? So out of that 69% of people that are coming to our site, we have about 40,000 people coming to our site a month or sessions a month. But that's not breaking it down by unique visits. That's just breaking it down by sessions. We convert about 5.41% of those people that come to our site. If we look at our landing pages, actually, if you just look at our social or our site traffic and break it down by social traffic is converting at 11% on our website. And that includes our landing pages,
so
our
that's
homepages,
people
everything.
coming from social.
Yeah, people coming from
to
Facebook, coming from LinkedIn, coming from Twitter, whatever that might be. That's organic, that's lead, that's paid ad driven. But that's about 11%. So we know that if we can bring in 40,000 people a month or 40,000 sessions a month, we know that's going to equal about 2,164 leads.
So, but what decision are we asking them to make when we bring them to that landing page?
And that's the difference between your homepage and your landing page. So on our homepage, we have about 4 different calls to action, right? Because we don't know who these people are necessarily. So login, that's going to be a call to action for returning visitors. So that's very clear for them to be able to see. Now it's a little bit smaller because once you do it once, you know where to go, and everyone knows to look in the upper right-hand corner for the login page on the website. Our main call to action within our hero is our lead generator, right? So images speak louder than words, obviously. I think the human brain can process images 60,000 times faster than text.
Ooh.
So we start off with that nice big hero shot, a single image on your homepage, making sure that your main message in that shot is above the fold. So for those who aren't sure, above the fold means without having to scroll. So whether that's on mobile or whether that's on desktop, you always want to make sure that your main hero shot and your text and your call to action is above that fold. So our main call to action there is just, again, to request a PDF sample. It's a very light, non-commitment type of request, but we have a very visually driven product. So people want to see it. They want to get it physical samples as well, but that almost feels like, well, I don't want to give up my address, and I don't want to sit there and wait. I want instant gratification. Send me a PDF of what this thing looks like and what it could look like with my photo on it, right?
Yeah, tell them the difference. So you were telling me before the podcast of, you're working on the call to actions. The key to a call to action is clarity and you don't want to distract them. The difference Josh just said between our website versus maybe our lead page, our website has 4 different call to actions because we're just not sure who all these people are, and so we got to give multiple avenues. Some are clients, some are prospects, etc. Our lead page is very specific because we're driving traffic to them through our ads, through Google, through email marketing, all that good stuff. Tell them about the example you were saying on when we changed the call to action text, because I just want to give people a flavor of just A/B testing and what that can do for your business.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the tips that we would give when building a website, doing landing pages, whatever, is to test constantly. One of the things that we had done, and I pulled this for, I think, a live video that we did a few months ago or something like that, but I pulled one of our landing pages and saw that we run Google experiments, right? And you don't have, again, I want to make sure that we're being clear that you don't have to do all the technical stuff. You can literally set up one page with one URL, set up a second page with a second URL, and manually watch it. We have a lot of this automated because we have a lot of stuff going on. But we set up Google Experience basically so that whenever somebody hits a web page that we're driving them to, Google's going to direct half the traffic to the one page, which is A, and half the traffic to the other page, which is B.
Okay.
We found that by changing the button text on our call to action button said "get a sample before," which was a little it was a little ambiguous. You weren't really sure what you were getting a sample of. It may have felt a little more committal because maybe you're thinking you're going to get a hard sample. You're going to sit there, wait in the mail. There's a lack of instant gratification. We changed that to get and our senior web designer, Dan, he is a testing machine. He loves to test almost so much I have to tell him to stop testing and just go. But he's constantly testing. So he changed that to get a PDF sample, right? And it's super simple. And right above it, the call to action text was, get a PDF sample sent directly to your inbox. And then the whole messaging behind it was, beautiful marketing. So we saw that our conversion rate on that page actually went from 25%, which is really, really good for a landing page, up to 33%. So if we always want to break down the math and work backwards.
Talk about the money
and
the
say,
leads.
what does that mean for our business? So if we break it down to its simplest form, every 100 people that we can bring that page, because of that increase, we're increasing our net leads by 8.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So until we, once we go play that out over the course of all of our Facebook traffic, and right now we're bringing in about 6,000 unique link clicks per month through all of our Facebook ads.
Okay.
So if all of our, now not all of our landing pages saw this same increase, but if all of our landing pages were seeing that same increase, that's an additional 480 leads for our business a month.
It's interesting when you're talking about it, and as I think about it and just think from a logical standpoint, it seems to me that just being more direct and straightforward and less intrusive. So that combination of the two is the person didn't have to think about it. They knew exactly what they were getting, and it was less intrusive.
Yeah.
That probably was 2 huge factors.
Well, and then the
into what
next thing that
drove
we're
it.
testing is how do we work them further down that funnel and make it even more clear. So you were kind enough to record a video for us a few weeks ago.
Tried to record a
Did a wonderful
Hey, thank
job.
you for requesting a sample video.
So,
Trying to use video.
Yeah, and just saying thank you. Number one, thank you. Thanks for putting a little bit of trust in us. Mm-hmm. Thank you for giving us your email address. I mean, that is a huge deal
We
nowadays.
will not spam you.
When somebody gives you their email address. So saying thank you if everything works out, hey, we're going to have someone reach out to you and talk about what you thought about the sample. In the meantime, if you're interested in talking now, click here to schedule an appointment, because you have people coming to your site. You're not sure why they're coming to their site. You're not sure what phase in the buyer's journey they're on. So if you have people, you want to give multiple ways for them to contact you, whether that's a phone number or a text message. Just text me right here at this number right now to find out a little bit more, to speak to a rep now.
Right.
Or schedule an appointment to speak with one of our
Man, we could get
reps.
into a whole podcast on follow-up of leads, because we talked about, the blitz methodology of you can text people, email people, call people. We talked about the speed at which you want to get to a lead, but that's so critical when you think about your call to actions, what you're talking about, which is the journey of once they click that button, what happens to them, because it's almost just as important if not more important, in that after effect of what happens to them after they click that call to action. So I think that pretty much wraps up our time. I do want to make one more point, which is one of the things about websites that drives me absolutely nuts and is a pet peeve of mine, and I want to tell you guys, is that your contact information should be easy to find. I am telling you, I can't tell you how many times in my own personal life I get so frustrated when I go to a website, I cannot find their contact information. And so you're going to have to balance that with your call to action and your landing pages versus your website. But make sure your contact information is easy to find, because if it's not, you're going to frustrate your customers. And so you have to look at your business model and what you can do to make it easy for your clients to contact you and get a hold of you. Awesome.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you very much, Josh. We appreciate you guest starring on this podcast. If you like these tips, please give us a 5-star review and a positive comment so we can keep making more of them. As always, my name is Sefton Eisenhart.
And I'm Luke Acree, and I'm going to close with this, guys, is take action on one of the things you've heard today. The difference between a top producer and a mediocre agent, baby, is top producers take action.